BLA ambushed a police prison van, abducted 5 officers and tortured multiple government buildings. With rescue operations ongoing and militants pushing back harder than ever, is Balochistan on the brink of a fresh wave of violence. To commemorate the 80th anniversary of Victory in Europe Day, London's Westminster Palace was illuminated in red, white and blue on the opposite shore. Big Ben showcased projections of historical day images honoring the end of the war in Europe. This tribute is part of the nationwide celebrations including military parades, flypasts and community events, reflecting on the sacrifice made during the war and celebrating peace.
Blanc bleu. Il était content les yeux.
Bah non, il m'a même pas dit merci. Non.
Blanc bleu.
Il
était content les yeux.
Bah non, il m'a même pas dit merci. Non.
On May 7, 2025, 133 cardinals from 70 countries gathered at St. Peter's Basilica. A solemn man was led by Cardinal Governor Battista, remarking the commemorate of the conclave to elect the 267th Pope, following Pope Francis' death, emphasizing unity and spiritual leadership. Cardinal urged the electors to prioritize the church's cohesion during this conflict and complex period. The cardinals then proceeded to the Sistine Chapel, where they will remain sequestered. To thoughts majority, 89 votes is achieved to elect the new pontiff. Chennai is not for sale, won't be for sale ever. Prime Minister candidate tells Donald Trump after the US President said to him that the two countries would have a wonderful marriage. Canada joined the US as a 51st state during a meeting at the White House.
Well, if I may, as you know from real estate, there are some places that are never for sale.
That's true.
We're sitting in one right now, Buckingham Palace that you visited as well.
That's true.
And having met with the owners of Canada over the course of the campaign last several months, it's not for sale, won't be for sale ever. But the opportunity is in the partnership and what we can build together. And we have done that in the past. And part of that, as the President just said, is with respect to our own security. And my government is committed for a step change in our investment in Canadian security and our partnership, and I'll say this as well, that the President has revitalized international security, revitalized NATO, and us playing our full weight in NATO, and that will be part of it.
And they have, I must say, Canada is stepping up the military participation because Mark knew, they were low and now they're stepping it up, and that's a very important thing. But never say never. Never say never.
French Foreign Affairs Minister Jean-Noël Barrot reportedly met his gentleman counterpart Johan Warfel in Paris to discuss key bilateral and European issues. Sources indicated that the meeting aimed to strengthen cooperation and address current geopolitical challenges facing Europe.
Wait.
S'il vous plaît, on recule. Merci.
Yesterday, so that was the first time for us to make a common goal together with the left part, which was in some kind of formal communities like GDR. But for that very occasion, it was needed. Yeah.
Il part maintenant. Dans 2 minutes, monsieur. Pardonnez-nous.
Hey, wait.
S'il vous plaît, on recule. Merci.
Yesterday, so that was the first time for us to make a common goal together with the left part, which was in some kind of formal communities like GDR. But for that very occasion, it was needed.
Relatives of a man killed in recent Indian airstrikes in Muzaffarabad in Pakistan-controlled Kashmir were seen carrying his conflict for Turiel Wednesday. The incident followed missile strikes by India across the border, which reportedly killed at least 19 people, including a child, prompting strong condemnation from Pakistan's leadership. President Donald Trump says 3 hostages held by Hamas in Gaza have died, leaving only 21 believed to be still living. Trump noted Tuesday that until recently it had been 24 people believed to be living. He did not elaborate on any identities.
Well, we've gone very slowly because we want to try and get as many hostages saved as possible, and we've done a good job in that regard. 2 weeks ago, I had 10 hostages come in, and they thanked me profusely. And I said, you have nothing to thank me about. What they went through is incredible. They lived in a pipe. You know, they keep hearing about caves. It was a pipe, 3.5 feet high. And they didn't know if they were going to breathe. They didn't know if they were going to live to the next day. They lived like hell. I couldn't believe the stories I was hearing. And they weren't grandstanding. These were people that were seriously mistreated. I said, how many people are left? How many are left? They said, 59. I said, oh, wow, that's more than I thought. They said, well, only 24 are living, but now it's 21. That was a week ago. Now it's 21 are living. And these are young people. These are young people don't die. Old people die. Young people don't die under these conditions. So of the 59 people, and they said 59, and I said, really? But they said only 24 are living. And I now correct, I say 21, because as of today it's 21. 3 have died. So this is a terrible situation. We're trying to get the hostages out. We've gotten a lot of them out.
The head of Homeland Security said the travelers who were not real ID, accompanied by the upcoming deadline that week, would still be allowed to fly, but advised that they should be prepared to undergo extra security during security checks.
Tomorrow is the day that Real ID will finally be enforced. It's been a law that's been in place for over 20 years. 81% of the travelers that travel by airline in the United States today are already compliant. So they have IDs that already they will be able to use just like they normally always have been. We will be honoring passports, other federally recognized IDs. Tribal IDs will be recognized. So thank you, Mr. Chairman, for that. And what will happen tomorrow is folks will come through the line and will be issue their ID and show it. If it's not compliant, they may be diverted to a different line, have an extra step, but people will be allowed to fly. We recognize that this is a security issue. Congress has had many, many years to reevaluate it and decide if they wanted to change the law or to stop it. And the Biden administration chose that it should go into place on May 7th, and we intend to follow the law. So we will make sure that it is as seamless as possible and that travelers will get to stay on their intended itinerary. But we are telling people that this law will be enforced, and it will allow us to know individuals in this country who they are and that they're authorized to travel.
Emergency and police vehicles were reported near Rovaniemi airport in Finland's Arctic North following the crash of the Finnish A8. On before this, the pilot had ejected before the crash and was successfully rescued, with an investigation into the incident reportedly underway. Smoke was seen billowing as planes burned at the Sana International Airport, which was reportedly destroyed in Israeli airstrikes. An airport official stated that Yemen's main international airport, located in the rebel-held capital Sana'a, had been completely destroyed as a result of the strikes, leaving operators severely disrupted. British PM Sir Keir Starmer has ruled out reversing cuts to the rider fuel payments, insisting that they will not listen to the noises of urging him to change course despite last week's local election results. Speaking during Prime Minister's questions, Tory leader Kemi Badenoch asked the Prime Minister if he would change course on cuts to the winter fuel payments. In reply, Sir Keir Starmer said no party is prepared to take challenges on.
Does the Prime Minister now admit that he was wrong to remove the winter fuel payment from millions of pensioners?
Mr. Speaker, the number one job of this government was to put our finances back in order after the last government lost control. That is, and to deal with the 22 billion black hole that they left. And of course, we're committed to the triple lock, which improved pensions by £470 last year.
Mr. Speaker, the only black hole is the one the Prime Minister is digging. This issue affects some of the poorest and most vulnerable pensioners. His mayor in Doncaster says it's wrong. His First Minister in Wales says it's wrong. Even his own MPs are saying it's wrong. He's refused to listen to me on this. Will he at least listen to his own party and change course?
Mr. Speaker, let's spell this out. All the parties opposite would take this country back to where it was a few years ago. No one on this side, Mr. Speaker, is denying how big the challenge is that we face, but no one on that side of the House is even prepared to take those challenges on.
Mr. Speaker, we wouldn't balance it on the backs of pensioners. Pensioners are poorer and colder because of his decisions. All the while, energy has got more expensive.
Britain and India have struck a landmark free trade deal that will slash tariffs with the world's fifth largest economy and ultimately boost growth by up to $5 billion years, the equivalent of a 0.1% in the GDP. The agreement, the biggest trade deal signed since Brexit, will result in Indian taxes on British exports such as whiskey and cars falling by up to 90%. In return, Britain has made concession to delay, including an exception from national insurance payments for Indian workers in Britain.
This is the biggest trade deal that we, the UK, have done since we left the EU, and it's the most ambitious trade deal that India has ever done. And this will be measured in billions of pounds into our economy and jobs across the whole of the United Kingdom. So it is a really important, significant day. And look, it's been promised many times over the last 8 years. Prime Minister Modi and I decided in Brazil last year that we would move at pace in relation to these negotiations. We've done that in a serious way, in a pragmatic way, and we're able to show that that's what delivers results. So I'm really pleased for working people across the country who will feel the benefits of this, of course, at an increasingly uncertain time in terms of trade and the economy across the world. So this is a very significant step, and I'm very pleased that we've got this far with this really significant.
Columns of military hardware, including tanks, various drone and missile systems of conveyed and settled in Moscow on Wednesday, May 7 morning for final dress rehearsal as Russia prepares to hold a parade on Red Square to mark the 80th anniversary of the defeat of Nazi Germany in the Second World War. 29 war leaders, including China's Xi Jinping, are expected to attend the World War II Victory Day commemorators in Moscow in the coming days. President Vladimir Putin will lead events which run from May 8th to 11th, taking place on Red Square in the heart of the Russian capital on May 9th. That's the wrap up of the world news. Keep watching CVR English News.